Today we will be focusing on the professional massage movements that are needed for a basic facial for state board licensing. The very first thing that I'm going to do is sanitize my hands away from my client's face to make sure that I do not get any of this in her eyes. I have draped her with a towel and a cape, also an additional towel and a headband, as well as a bobby pin. To start, I'm going to take out from a disposable cuppy my massage cream and apply it to my fingertips. Extremely important in facial massages, as well as any of the facial movements that you'll be doing, is to use the cushions of your fingertips to complete this task. Using your fingernails can not only scratch your client, but underneath your fingernails can harbor bacteria, so it's best to make sure you're using just the cushions of your fingertips. To start, I'll be focusing on the chin, sliding my hands up the side of the face, using the back of my hands to slide down, stretch my index and middle finger out above and below the lips, back of my hands come back down to the nose, deep circular movement at the nose area. This is going to break up any hardened sebum. Slide my hands up to the top of the forehead and slide back down. I will do that until each of the zones of the face are completely covered with massage cream. The first massage movement is the chin movement. So from here, we will be starting on the left-hand side of the chin, and I'm going to slowly pull my hands up and off of that jawbone. I'm slowly working my way from left to right, right back over to left. Number 2 is the circular movement over the lower cheek area. So from here, I'm slowly sliding my hands to that lower cheek area. And notice how I'm putting the heel of my hands is resting on the temple area. That is primarily for stability. And it allows my hands to give the most amount of pressure possible out of this movement. Working my way up to the temple and then slide back down to my starting point. Each of these movements is completed at least 3 to 5 times each. For your state board licensing, they may only ask you to cover each of these movements once to show that you are capable. But in a professional facial movements, you will be doing this anywhere between 3 to 5 minutes. Number 3 is the mouth, nose, and cheek movement. For this one, I'm simply sliding my hands all the way through each of these movements, slight pressure at the temple, and then slide all the way back down to the chin. So my starting point, I'm sliding around the mouth, underneath the nose. I'm switching my fingers. Anytime you're working underneath the eye, I want to make sure that I'm sliding under with a finger that's going to use the least amount of pressure, which is my ring finger. Sliding back down to the start. under the eye, less pressure. Number 4 is the linear forehead movement. So for this one, I'm creating a deep circular movement over the temple area. And then I'm slowly going to be pulling in my index and middle finger to the center of my client's forehead. And then I slowly draw back out to the temple area, giving a deep circular movement over that temple. Number 5 is the circular movement over the forehead. This is done in 3 zones. I'm creating a small circular movement closest to my client's eyebrows. Moving back out to the temple. Zone 2, the middle of the forehead. Zone 3 is closest to the hairline. So that would be considered one movement, again, done anywhere between 3 to 5 times each. Three zones just above those eyebrows, middle of the forehead, and then again for closest to that hairline. Number 6 is the crisscross forehead movement. So this one, we're going to create little X's across the forehead. An alternative method for this would be considered more of a friction-based massage, where I would take both of my fingers at the same time and crisscross in an alternate fashion. And what this movement's going to do, it's going to energize those muscles a little bit more, relieve a lot of that tension that tends to build up in that forehead area. And that is number 6. Number 7, we have the stroking forehead movement. I'm going to take both of my hands, slide them together, interlock at the top of the forehead, and pull them apart from each other. This relieves a lot of tension and stress that tends to build up in that forehead area. Number 8, this one is the brow and eye movement. So for this one, I focus on using just my ring finger as well as my middle finger. And the reason for it, we're going to start by applying pressure against the brow, going in the same direction of the eyebrow growth. So I'm applying pressure. I take my middle finger off, slide underneath the eyes with just my ring finger, and you're creating that continuous circle around that eye area. Number 9 is the nose and upper cheek movement. So for this one, my starting position is right in between my eyebrows, sliding down the side of the nose. When I get to the base of the nose, I'm completing a deep circular movement over that cheek area. A little more attention at the temple. And then sliding back under to my start point. Transitioning from one movement to the next, you want to make sure that you're not lifting your hands off of your client's face. It does create a slight disruption in the massage movements. So for number 10, I'm sliding my hands all the way underneath my client's lips. And here, I'm creating a deep circular movement over that cheek area, swinging all the way to about the middle of the nose. And then I'm sliding my hands up and around her eyebrows down to the starting point again. And this is the mouth and nose movement. Number 11 is the lip and chin movement. I'm simply taking both of my fingers, creating a circle around the chin, circle on top of the lips, back under the lips, back under the chin. And again, each of these 3 to 5 times each. Number 12 is considered an optional movement in our Milady textbook. However, I find that for number 12, my absolute favorite is where I take both of my hands, crisscross them at the chin, and we are going to slide our hands up the side of the face, crisscross at the forehead, slide down the face. And you really want to make sure all of the palms of your hands are encompassing this client's face. Number 13 is the lifting movement of the cheek area. So for this one, you're taking your index finger and your thumb and you're pulling that in together. You are not pinching, but simply pulling those fingers together. And you're focusing on the lower cheek, chin, and jaw area, avoiding your forehead. Number 14 is the rotary movements of the cheeks. So for this one, I slide my hands back down to the chin in a deep circular effleurage movement. The heels of my hands are on the temple area. I'm rotating all the way up to the base of her ear, and then slide down to the corner of her lips. Slow movement up to the top of the ear, and then I slide that down to the corner of her nose. And from the corner of the nose, we go all the way up to the temple, and then back down to my starting point at the chin. So up to the base of the ear, slide down to the corner of the lips, up to the top of the ear, corner of the nose, up to the temple, and then slide back down to the chin. And number 15 is our light digital tapping. And I'm simply working my way around my client's face and lifting as I finish up this massage. The way that I always like to finish off the massage is to never abruptly leave my client's face. I'm taking both of my hands and slowly stroking up and away from their face, and gently lifting my hands off of their forehead. From here, I'm going to create some mitts. Fold it in half. And these mitts will be used to remove any excess massage cream that may still be visible on the skin. And that concludes your professional massage movements.